Hello, everyone. How are you all? A very warm good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatsoever is the time in all the regions of the world from where people have joined us. And I welcome everybody to this another series of our webinar, wherein we will be talking about one more interesting aspect of research studies, I think, which is very important to talk about these days, and that is plagiarism, citations, and proofreading, referencing. That's all we'll be talking about. And as you all know, that these series of webinars are conducted by a research graduate. So we as an organization, we are there in the market to provide you with all the kind of support and assistance which is there, or which is being required by you in order to complete your research study diligently and efficiently. So let me welcome everybody, and we have people joining in. Very good evening, very good evening. Mr. Deepak, Dr. Nagaraju, Mr. Ravi, Mr. Jayaprakash. Very warm good evening to very one and all. Mr. Faisal's likewise. I think with each session, with each webinar, wherein we get a chance to interact with each other, it's a dual, it's a two-way learning association, right? So I get to learn something from you guys, and definitely we try to deliver some aspects to you which can elevate the level of understanding on the chosen topic of you all. So, very good evening, Mr. Suhas. I'm sure that these days the various parts of India are drizzling. You guys are enjoying rain. So, you all know my name, Dr. Mishra, myself, Dr. Renu Mishra, and I am, as of now, I'm located in Dubai, and I am working here in the capacity of assistant professor. I'm a business management faculty here, and I'm also a freelance trainer, wherein I deliver webinars like this, and I conduct the training workshops as well. So this is about me, and also on the research side, along with writing the papers and all, I also serve on the editorial board of a couple of journals. And very good afternoon, Mr. Kure. Very good afternoon. So this is about a very brief profile about myself. And now I think we have a couple of people joined with us. So let's begin the session. Okay. So all all you know that the today's session is basically is aiming towards the concept clarification about plagiarism, citations, referencing, and proofreading. So in that, before to go ahead, I would like to brief you about what is research graduate. As I told you, research graduate as an organization is there in the market. We are a consulting company wherein we help people like you who are at the different stages of their research journey, and you are also at your different level of understanding of the research acumen and research understanding. So be it a topic selection, be it you need some certain kind of assistance in paper writing, be it review paper or research paper, your statistical analysis, the editing, the proofreading part. So from A to Z, your research queries are being sorted out here, and so thereby research graduate is a one-stop solution for researchers, and irrespective of your location. Very good afternoon, very good afternoon, Roshanar. Very good afternoon, Mr. Vipin. So starting from your topic selection till the complete beautification of the research study, that's what we call as editing, proofreading, and formatting. Research graduate is there to help you out from A to Z research queries. Okay. So if you want to reach out research graduate, the given email ID and the WhatsApp number can be approached, and you can also browse through the website of research graduate. All right, so as far as the webinar structure goes, like, so we'll be talking and we'll be discussing about the context and the concept for about 90 minutes or so. And then you'll be, you'll be given chance to ask the questions for about 30 minutes or so. And do not worry about the PPTs, recordings, and the certificates. They will be shared with you for on your given and registered email ID with which you must have registered with. So do not worry about that. And also, welcome, Mr. Shah. Welcome, Amara. Welcome, welcome. Very warm welcome. And as it has been written in the chat also, that just in case you do not get a clarity on the slide, so do not get panic on that stage, because it's more important to listen, okay? Because the recording and the PPTs are any which ways going to reach you, right? So it's more important to listen at this point in time, just in case there is a glitch in the clarity of the video. So kindly increase the video quality on YouTube, or if that also does not help you, do not panic. Slides will eventually reach out to you, okay? So you'll get it in any ways. All right, so now let's talk about the topic in hand and let's begin the webinar, okay? So first of all, plagiarism is a word wherein it can be heard out, it can be understood, it can be looked upon in various perspectives. Many people are worried about plagiarism these days. They have complete knowledge, few does not have complete knowledge. Can anybody quickly tell me what is plagiarism? What is plagiarism? If I may ask you that, uh, each one of you is a researcher in different capacity, so knowing about plagiarism is a must. It's a basic aspect for being a researcher, that you should know about what is plagiarism. Okay, let me tell you. See, when you write a research study, when you write a research paper, thesis, any level of work I'm talking about, when you, yes, Mr. Suhas, everything, exactly rightly said. So when you work on a research body or your research paper, thesis, dissertation, right? Absolutely right. Also, absolutely right. Great, all of you. You need to take inspiration. You need to adapt some idea. You need to use someone else's concept, their language, primarily what we go through from the literature. And you need to use it in your own work. Okay, exactly, everybody is absolutely right. So when you do it, when you do either adapt, copy somebody else's work, or I should say use somebody else's work without acknowledging the source. Now when I say acknowledging the source, that means the person is not being mentioned that so and so work is being adapted from that particular study. Okay, and when I say that without somebody's permission, something, somebody must have written permission. Basically permission you take in that aspect or in that context when there is a copyright issue. Okay, so you have to take the person permission and proper referencing, everything needs to be done. So plagiarism occur when there is no or limited acknowledgement on somebody else's work in your work. So if you are taking some idea or some concept from my paper, for instance, right, and you are using it in your own, but you are not referencing or you are not citing my paper's name or my name in your study, that will be called as plagiarism. Mr. Imran, everything will be explained. I'll be talking about self plagiarism as well. All right, so this is plagiarism. So in simple language, you're using somebody's language, idea, or other original material, but you're not acknowledging the source or simply just copy pasting it. That falls into the category of plagiarism. All right. All right, let's move ahead. Now, is it plagiarism if I copy the content but cite the source? So I have just completely, taken it from the source, but I have cited the source. So anybody can say that I know I have cited the source, that where from where I have taken it. So the answer is yes. Okay. See, unless the context or the text what you are taking is in inverted commas, okay, be it a definition or be it somebody's statement, unless and until the original context, original text is in inverted commas, you need to paraphrase it. You need to rephrase it. That also I'll tell you how to do it. So if you're taking some definitions, if you're taking some statement like Shakespeare said, what's there in the name? So you can't change the statement said by Shakespeare, right? And if you're apart from these definition and you apart from these quotes, if you're copying directly as it is, in spite of the fact that you are quoting the source, it falls into the category of plagiarism. Okay. So first thing. So even if you have cited but not changed the language, it is plagiarism. I am again saying only the language, not the meaning. Okay. Now, is it plagiarism if I copy my own content? Mr. Imran, here is the answer of your query. Is it plagiarism if I copy my own content? So the answer is yes. If your previous work is published, is somewhere published, in any of the journal or anywhere, and you are taking the content from that published work, considering that it's my own work, I only wrote it, so why should I cite it? That's also plagiarism and called as self plagiarism. Okay. Now, last is it plagiarism if I substitute few words? Now, I'm not working on the entire content. I'm just taking couple of words as in just one or two words I take and I just substitute them. But the language is very much close what the original context was. Again, it will be plagiarism. You have to paraphrase the sentence. Okay. Now, when I say that, my name is Dr. Renu Mishra. That's one sentence. That's one way of telling people my name. People know me by the name of Dr. Renu Mishra. Again, I'm telling this name. You can call me by this. Okay, I'm popular among people by this name. So each every sentence is a way of me telling my name to others. Right? Now somebody asked me, so Has, ma'am, can idea be plagiarism, but there is no proof, right? See, the idea which is published, okay, the idea which is published by some other's name or by some other author, and now you're quoting it as your own, it falls in plagiarism. So here I'm talking about published idea. Okay. Mr. Inam, then madam, the definition of plagiarism must be redefined. See, plagiarism occur when writer uses someone else's language, idea, or other original material without acknowledging the source. Now, self plagiarism, Mr. Imran, or to everybody, is a type of plagiarism. Okay. Now, when you publish a piece of work in your name, in an article, or in a thesis, or in a paper, right? How do people know that the current paper which you are writing and the paper which is previously written are the same person? You yourself know that, okay, fine, that paper is being written by me. There can be more than one individual with similar names, right? So it's just you who know it, that you only wrote it. All right. So the idea, I got to know that where you're focusing, that someone else's language, right? So that someone else is someone else that is only known to you, or that someone else is not someone else, is only you, that is also only known to you. The reader goes by citations. All right. And also, if you are quoting your own work in other work, your own other work, what is new contribution by you in research? If we are presenting the same work which we have done already, what is our contribution in research? So that needs to be taken care of. All right. Okay. Now, there are a couple of interesting facts about plagiarism which may fall into the category of true or false. Plagiarism is definitely a harmful. You, if you review if it's not plagiarism, that is completely false, definitely false. Again, you do not have to cite your own work. Plagiarism is all about how much you plagiarism. No, see, at some places it can be 10% plagiarism is acceptable. At some places it can be 5%. At some places it can be 2% or so, right? So the degree of play acceptance level of plagiarism is different. Okay, is definitely different. Okay. Now, Mr. Whipple said if you are taking some other language in your and you are changing the language, I mean the medium, you still have to cite the source. Okay. Mr. Vashisht have said copyrights have had been transferred to the journal. That piece of work kind of doesn't belong to ourselves. Absolutely, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay. In review article, if I cite the quote, still see, I told you, Ashish, that, and everybody, when we are talking about quotes which are in inverted commas or definitions, we're not supposed to change it. We take it as it is with citations. That's why we say that in order to avoid plagiarism, because if you are taking those definition or quotes too many, the software will take it as a plagiarism, a high plagiarism. Okay, because you cannot change the language, you cannot paraphrase the definition. All right. Okay, so these are a couple of facts about plagiarism being true or false, that you should not cite your own work, and it's just happened by accident. I mean, I was not aware about that. I'm copying somebody else's content, or I need to cite it, and so on. So this is all false side of plagiarism. And the other side, or the true side, say that you need to cite the work irrespective of the fact that you have rephrased it. You need to cite your own work, and you need to give credit to other people for their work. Okay, it's very important. Now, why we need to be concerned about plagiarism? Can anybody tell me? I mean, can anybody quickly give me an idea about why we need to be concerned about plagiarism? Yes, self work also need to be paraphrased. Yes, yes, Imtiaz, it needs to. So Vedita, if we are talking about research methodology, and if that methodology aspect you are, let's say for example, you are talking about convenience sampling. What is convenience sampling? And you are referring to any book or any article if you're taking it. So understand, you are not supposed to change the meaning, but language has to be altered if it has been taken from somewhere else. Okay, because when you will check the plagiarism, it will automatically detect that this particular portion has been adopted from that particular place or that particular article. Okay. Mr. Faisal's question is, this means we cannot paraphrase a definition, but we have to change the words of a quote. See, Mr. Faisal, definition cannot be changed. And when it comes to the quote, which is, again, I'm saying, which is into inverted commas, that means it is being said by somebody like this. This is a quote. Like, for example, very, very layman example, I'm loving it. This is a tagline for McDonald's. You can't change it. The quotes and the definition, you can't change it. Okay. Okay, so basically, exactly as I asked the question that why we need to concern about plagiarism, again, to bring out the novelty and remove the duplication. The literature should not be filled with already existing information. Very importantly, okay. So there are a couple of facts which we need to be taken care well of when we talk about the authenticity of the work. Okay. And definitely it will affect that how the work is being presented, and rightly said by Mr. Ravi Chandran that it will affect the intellectual of one or whose idea has been copied, definitely. So it will create a research conflict in the research domain. Okay. All right. So plagiarism is actually a concern. So whenever you are writing any research work, whenever you are working on a research paper or an article or a thesis, this should be paid attention towards that. This aspect is to maintain the research ethics. This aspect cannot be compromised with. Now, how much it is to be accepted, what is the level of plagiarism, you have to, if you are submitting the paper for any journal, every journal has their own level of acceptance or has their own level of plagiarism. Every university has, when it comes to thesis submission, I'm talking in terms of that. When it comes to thesis submission, every university has their own level of plagiarism to be accepted. Okay. All right. Now let me take you to the types of plagiarism. So the first is deliberate plagiarism. I'm sure the name again says it all. So deliberate plagiarism is basically when we talk about something which we have deliberately done. It is known to us that we are copying it or we are taking somebody else's work and we are trying to represent that work as our own. Okay. That happens that happens when we copy paste the entire work without citing it, or we are just copying majority of the portions from some other paper and we are not citing it and we are submitting at the original work. That happens if many of the academicians are there, if any of the academicians are there. This happens when students they try to submit their projects or the graduate or the postgraduate level dissertations. So this is the most common kind of plagiarism which come across or which students they does. And so basically you are trying to present somebody else's work and you are trying to adapt from their work into your own and presenting at your in your name. Okay. Now when it comes to second work, that is patchwork plagiarism. Again, the name says it all. Here what you are doing is you are using some ideas, you are using some highlighted words from some majority of the sources and collecting them together and presenting your own, like your own. So majority of like some couple of keywords from here, couple of keywords from there, couple of keywords from somewhere else, and then you are presenting it as your own work. Okay. And also that there are a couple of instances where student they find that instead of naming on their own, or in order to just be on the safer side, they attach some other author's name just to cover up. Okay. Here what happened in patchwork plagiarism, that you are taking an adaptation or you are taking or copying, rather I should say the right word, you're copying the work of many authors, and then you are presenting or you are passing off that patchwork, the ultimate result of the work, as your own. So you if somebody raises a question, so the defense comes like that, we are not, we have not copied from somebody, but the eventual thing is that the particular work has been copied from many places. Instead of one place, that's been copied from many places. Okay, that's also one kind of. Another is bluffing. So when we talk about bluffing, so basically here you are you are reading some books, textbooks, some journals, and what the key ideas is there, what is the key concept is there, what is the key discussion is been there, you take them. Okay, Mr. Vipin, how to reduce plagiarism will also be discussed. Please be patient. This is a webinar for 2 hours, so everything will be taken care of. Okay, yeah. So do not worry. You need to be patient. You need to first understand that what kind of plagiarism you guys are committed. If you are, how to take care of that, that also will be taken care of. Don't worry. Okay, so that's what bluffing is. Because now here when we are talking about types of plagiarism, I'm sure if not all but majority of you must be categorizing themselves. Okay, fine, we generally do this, or unintentionally we are doing this. Okay, all right. Now, paraphrasing. Now here you will say that why and how it is a plagiarism. It is a way to avoid plagiarism. Now here what is happening is that we are just substituting couple of words. Okay, but the entire structure remains the same. Again, I'm saying in paraphrasing types of plagiarism, we are just substituting one or two words here and there, rest remains the same. Okay, and again citation is missing. Patchwork paraphrasing, same thing. You are taking the words and idea, you are rephrasing it, and you are presenting it your own. Now rephrasing as in just synonym, taken the synonym, couple of synonyms you have taken and presenting on your own. Again, no citations. Okay. Mosaic plagiarism, wherein you just take synonyms and present it at your own. So again, the common thing is what we see here is that there is no citations. There is no credit given to the original author. All right. Accidental plagiarism here, where we don't do it intentionally. Okay, now we know that, okay, if we replace this particular word or few words, couple of words, we may avoid plagiarism. Okay, we may come across, okay, the plagiarism is not done. So basically this is also a kind of plagiarism where you think that because of the unawareness, like many of you may not be knowing that self plagiarism, there is something like self plagiarism as well. So if doing that, if you're not citing your own source, you are actually committing a plagiarism, wherein that happened because there was an unawareness. All right. Now, inaccurate authorship also falls into plagiarism, wherein you are not, even if you are citing, you're providing proper referencing, but you are missing out, couple of authors are not there, you are not putting it rightly, some titles are missing, author's name is not properly referenced, and so on. So that also falls into the category of plagiarism, where so the citation should also be done very correctly. Okay, self plagiarism, we have already been discussed about that. When you talk about your own work, you mention your own work, but you don't cite yourself. All right. Now, contributing author plagiarism, this is also, considered to be one of its type, that there are authors who are, who partner with you on your project, or you work with them in some or the other capacity. Okay, maybe they are not the main author, but if somebody has done considerable work in your research, study, or paper or work, and they have made significant changes, important changes, please cite their work. Okay, please cite their name. Please do that. Aggregated plagiarism, basically, herein you are basically, your paper is reflecting the adaptation, taking it from some other paper. Okay, so you are just rearranging somebody else's paper and presenting at your own. All right, so you are just presenting somebody else's paper and presenting it as if it is yours own. So many a times what happened, I have seen personally, researcher or the students, they take some other researches and they just generalize it or translate it in their own language and present it at their own. Okay, now outline plagiarism is when you are using the what do you say that structural content of the research as same as it is. Okay, that is called as outline plagiarism, when the structural aspect of the paper is not being changed, is being used as it is, it calls as outline plagiarism. Okay, now bibliography plagiarism is when it's very simple, goes by name, that when you are taking the bibliography or you are using the bibliography, so you are basically, you are plagiarizing with that research. Okay, maybe you are writing a paper, some different idea you are presenting, but that bibliography aspect is also can be considered as um, finalizing and categorizing as plagiarism. Okay, now how do you identify that there is a plagiarism in a given written material? So there are a couple of approaches with which you can check whether there is plagiarism in the what do you say that a particular given material or not. So there are couple of ways. Okay, so if there is no, being a researcher, every researcher, we understand that there has to be a flow of writing, there has to be a flow of connect, there has to be a flow of information interrelated with each other. Okay, so if it goes off the track, some couple of grammatical errors are there, linguistic errors are there, the spellings are not right, and there is you can see every researcher has a particular way of writing a paper. My research style of writing would be definitely different from others. It may can reflect, it may can have certain similarities, but every researcher's way of writing, the way of formulating the sentence, the way of beginning a paragraph is different. Okay, so if it is a plagiarized work, you can definitely, being an avid reader, if you read a lot, you can get to know that there is something wrong with this particular study. Okay, so for this, definitely, maybe who is new to the research or maybe who have just couple of studies old, they may not be able to judge it by using what you say that just by having a look on this particular study or paper. But the one who are experienced enough, they have a particular writing style, they read a lot, they can definitely tell that certain kind of plagiarism is there. Now, there are some online softwares also, so that you can check plagiarism. So these are the one which are reflected on your screen, which are available for free. You can check plagiarism on your own online. It is available. And now, how to use these plagiarism software for detection, because these days it is a very handy way to detect plagiarism. Now, don't get hurry, we'll be coming on how to detect plagiarism and how to correct it as well. Okay. Okay, so the you need to go for any plagiarism checker, and then uh, every plagiarism software, they have certain guidelines on what to do with that software, or how to go ahead with the software. Now, you have to upload your particular file. You can upload it on your Word doc form, PDF form, any accepted format by the software. And the results which will be shown by the software, it will show in the highlighted way that this particular content is plagiarized, this particular content is plagiarized. I'll show you that too. So something like this, your results comes out. Okay, so don't get panic if it's not clear. It's okay, you need not to read the context of it. And you just have to focus that how the software actually reflects the plagiarism. So okay, this is the example from used by Turnitin, and this is by Grammarly. So once you upload your own work into the software, every software has its own guidelines to be followed, own steps to be followed. And once you upload your file into the software, then you get to know that what level and where all the plagiarism is there in your body of work. Okay, all right. Now, this is the point where everybody was waiting for, and I'm sure that majority of you must be thinking that are we learning about the literature of plagiarism? No, we are not just learning about what is plagiarism. We are also aimed to how to correct it. Okay. Now, firstly, when you are all set to write, okay, you have not started writing, but this is your preparation before you start writing. Okay, so basically, you have uh, you have a party or you have an event to go on, and then you uh, collect all your material. This is to be wear, this is to be done, this is to be taken. So this is that preparation. Okay, I'll quickly take a question. If we adapt a scale of for measuring something even after proper size, sometimes analyst part becomes plagiarism. In that case, because Dr. Nagaraju, what happened is, even if you are doing proper citation, sometimes we need to take author's permission to use it. Okay, this also happens. If there are also there are also cases where you need to obtain the author's permission. uh, Ms. Freya, see, basically, I always suggest you to use these software in your PDF forms. Like rest, the authenticity and the security can only be ensured by these softwares only. Mr. Faisal, yes, you can say that Grammarly is weak, but it is used at graduate level or postgraduate level. You can use it. At for the advanced level, I think Turnitin, people use Turnitin as well. But Grammarly is also being used quite often these days. Quite often. Okay. Okay. So it is this step how to correct plagiarism is before you start writing. So majority of the plagiarism which occurs during your research journey is through your literature review. When you start writing the literature part for your study, okay, yes, you can go for that too also, Mr. Sohas, you can go for that. I have listed down that too. So when you are actually writing or about to set to write a research study or a paper or a dissertation, the majority of the plagiarism comes from something called literature review. Why I've said something called literature review? Because all of you are aware about what is plagiarism, you know, our what is literature review is all about. So it's very important to take a hold of your literature. When I say take a hold of your literature, I mean that whatever literature sources you have taken, make a note of it. You can organize that work by developing multiple folders. Because why I have added this particular concept here, or particular point here, is because I have seen many desktops, many laptops which are filled with probably hundreds of articles, and the desktop is looking like as if it itself is a library, you know. It's itself is a library. And then it's very difficult for the author to locate, oh fine, what did I review that time, or what for that particular or what do you say that author saying about, or what particular study is talking about. Thank you, Mr. Vashisht, for this information what you shared about the UGC approved softwares. Yes, see, literature review is the main source of plagiarism, because that's the point wherein you are actually taking somebody else's idea. Because when it comes to your result, when it comes to your analysis interpretation, it's your own. It works on your according to your own data and its analysis. So firstly, it's very important to get a hold of your literature. And another suggestion from my side, which I have found it uh, happening absolutely true, not only with me, for a couple of my students as well, that whenever you are adapting, I'm not saying copying, I'm not saying taking, I'm saying adapting any idea from some other literature, kindly highlight it, that this particular portion I have, see, because all of you know that literature review specifically for the Miss Reshma, I am on that only, how to avoid or how to correct, that only we are discussing. Okay, see, plagiarism, how to avoid it, you have to do it. Okay, so coming back, so whenever you are adapting any piece of information from any other literature, irrespective of your side of, or your your research study, whatever is the nature of your research study, please make sure that you highlight it. Dr. Karuna, they are free, make sure that you highlight it. Okay, when I say highlight it, so your research literature goes on with you till the time you complete your study, especially for the PhD thesis. Okay, especially for the PhD thesis, you tend to walk with your literature, because by the end of 4 years of your PhD, there may be some couple of changes happen in the literature which you need to accommodate. Okay, so wherever, whatever aspect of literature, or whatever portion of that literature from any XYZ paper you are adapting, make sure you highlight from that paper and organize. How you can organize it, make different folders. Now everybody works on their personal laptops or the desktops, right? So make different folders, label them. So this is about this variable, this literature is about this relation, this variable is about introducing, this variable is will help me in my writing my interpretation. So label your literature instead of creating a mess on your screens, which is, by just by having a look of it, a person like me can get faint, really. So make sure you create different folders, you create as many folders as you want, but every folder has to be distinct from one another. Okay, all right. So the next step is keep a track of your sources. Okay, see, it may sound weird, but whatever sources you are referring to, please make a list of it. And uh, it is a request to specially for the PhD scholars, because PhD scholars, when we are in PhD, we even can't recall how many papers we refer to. And Every paper is not supposed to be a part of your study. If I can recall, I mean, it's a long back story now. If I can recall when, how many literature articles I have referred to, it was more than like 800, 900. But originally I made use of 180 or 190 papers, right? So if I am again and again, I'm going back to the same source, I'm going back to the same source, I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my efforts. Okay, so please make sure that you are actually making a list of your sources as well, literature sources. Okay, now, last but not the least, in this particular step, make sure that you approach or you adapt from credible sources of literature. Okay, and now, how to judge, questions will come, how to judge these credible sources, how to find these credible sources, or they're authenticated or not. All these we have already covered in a previously conducted webinar. So definitely, it will help you. But if you are going for authenticated sources or credible sources of your for literature, what will help you, is that it will give you, even if you are taking some information on the data, it will give you a data which is authenticated. Okay, so my suggestion is, go for, see, plagiarism is not only copying somebody else's idea. You also need to take care of the fact that whatever information you are presenting in your paper, it's correct. Okay, now, okay, Mr. Vashis want me to explain the keeping track of sources. So basically, whatever sources you are approaching, book, blogs, articles, journals, right, make a source of it. Like, you need to make a list of it. Okay, fine, this I have referred to, this I have referred to, because what happened is, especially during the PhD time, you tend to forget. We review so many sources, we tend to forget. Okay, and again, needless to say that, please make sure that you go to credible sources of journals. For example, you want to go for Scopus listed journals. So Scopus, they have a list of they release the list of listed journals with them, index journals with them. It's available on their website, so you can refer, just for the example of Scopus I'm saying. Okay, so this was first step to correct plagiarism. Now, second step to correct plagiarism is quote and paraphrase correctly. Okay, now, quote, you all understand. All right, so how you need to cite, so that needs to be taken care well of. Put citations, they play a very important role in avoiding plagiarism or correcting plagiarism. Referencing, citation, please make sure that you need to be careful. Okay, all right, now, paraphrasing correctly. Now, for example, I have given one example here. The original text is from wherever I have taken this. The paper or the study has written in this particular manner. Okay, arts and culture undoubtedly flourished in the 20s as a shared American pop culture, emerged thanks to the advent of radio broadcasting, widely circulated magazines and movies. Quoted by Tulin 2021. Okay, stated by. So this is the citation, and I have taken this in original text. Now, the incorrect quote would be, in 1920s, arts and culture undoubtedly flourished in US due to the advent of so and so, so, so. I have not mentioned who, from where I have taken it, the exact source of it. However, in the next statement, if you see, I have correctly mentioned the name of the author. Okay, and paraphrased also. So understand, please pay attention. Avoiding plagiarism or correcting plagiarism does not mean that you are changing the meaning of the text. Okay, I am not saying that change the meaning of the text. Paraphrasing can be corrected only by working on the language and citations. Okay, all right. Now, there are some couple of examples wherein you can do or correct plagiarism by doing effective paraphrasing. Okay, so I have given some examples for you. We are still on the step 2 of correcting plagiarism. So this is the original text wherein this particular text is talking about how plastic is harming the wildlife, and how the birds and the fishes, they eat plastics. So the original text is about that, wherein the authors named Zombak and the year in which the particular study is being published, it is also being mentioned. Okay, all right. Now, here there are two ways I have given. One wherein the paraphrasing is incorrectly done. So if you see, there are some couple of words which are being replaced. Only couple of words which are being replaced. Okay, however, the majority of the context remains the same. Okay, all right. The correct way of paraphrasing would be keeping the meaning of the text same but changing the language. Again, I'm saying, in paraphrasing, only the language changes, not the meaning. Okay, all right. Now, there is one question from Mr. Ravi. Assume that two persons' idea about a particular concept is same, and if the second person is published his idea without aware of first person, will it fall under plagiarism? See, basically, first thing first, if anything which is published, if there are two ideas, like you said, but none of the person has published is yet. If anything which is published, then definitely the consent, citation, referencing needs to be done. However, the idea is the same, but it is not documented anywhere. No. Okay. Mr. Vasisht, yes. See, the thing is, when we talk about avoiding plagiarism or correcting plagiarism, basically the idea, understand the idea first. How we are falling into the trap of plagiarism when we are first adapting. I don't like using the word copying. When we are adapting somebody's work and we are not acknowledging him or her. Acknowledgement is done through citation. Adaptation into our own way. Idea, meaning remains the same, and you're working on the language. So, definitely, you will have to work on the language and citation. Okay? All right? All right. So, these are some couple of examples which I have quoted for you. So, how we can do a right kind of paraphrasing. Now, there are some paraphrasing examples in detail for you as well. So in each of the boxes, I have mentioned original text also and the paraphrased text as well. Okay. Now with just my another click, you will see where the paraphrasing is being done. Okay. Now I'm not saying that the way it is paraphrased here is the only way. No. Okay? No. Somebody else can also paraphrase in their own way. Okay? Now I'll just take one example. The original text is, the task of engineer is to produce the correct product at the correct cost at the correct time. Fox 1977. Paraphrasing states that Fox 1977 states that an engineer needs to come up with, okay, so I have twisted the language here, needs to come up with right product at the right time at a reasonable price. Okay, now here, to produce, I have said to come up with. Okay, so it's up to you, it's up to your writing style, how you paraphrase. Am I right? Am I making sense? So, similarly, the next example also tells you, I've just tried to tell you how you can paraphrase. Okay. And this kind of things, these kind of paraphrasing, it's being very oftenly done when you're writing literature for your own paper or your thesis or your dissertation. Okay. So, we are tweaking the language. Okay, sometimes what happen is, I have seen many work on my own that the paraphrased work is way far better than the original text. So it depends upon the researcher's style of writing. And a good researcher, many a times I have seen, they are very good writer. Okay, so they are very good writers as well. Writers in the sense that they are, the way you express, the way you portray your context for the readers, for their understanding. Okay, all right, now is your step 3, which is again very very important aspect, okay, in correcting plagiarism. That is, cite your sources correctly. Very important, very important. And all those who are academicians, all those who are an avid researcher, they must be saying that yes, we do it, but it comes out as a problem for somebody who's new to research domain, who is in their research journey, who've just started, who have just embarked their research journey. Okay, so there are two types of citations, or or let me say that you see the citations. One is there within the text, okay, which you find within the text, written between the text, so that is in text citations. See, all those who are getting worried about the PPT, do not get worried about it. I think I'm explaining, I'm not reading these slides. Do not worry, I'm not reading them, I'm just explaining. So even if you do not look at these slides, just listen to me, it'll be fine. PPTs will any which ways come to you. Do not worry. And if the PPTs are not clear, kindly work on your system's settings. All right. So in text citation, all those who are new to research, please do not get panic. What is in text citation? We don't know. In text means within the text. Citation, you know that. Acknowledgement given to the author. So the acknowledgement given to the author within the text is in text citation. Clear? All right. It's very simple. Just a small tip, wherever you get stuck with any word, with any concept, just go by the English literal meaning of it. Don't stuck it there. So in text citation, text citation given within the text, within the written set of words or paragraph or couple of lines. All right. Okay, now check your work. Now when you say that check your work means, whenever you are ready to submit your work is published ready, fine, everything is done, make sure you check your work on your own firstly. Okay, spelling checks, comma, punctuation, inverted marks, semicolon, please make sure. And then, just a small tip, probably, if you have time, that time, then remember, when you organized your sources, when you gathered your sources, you highlight from where you have adapted or which part has been adapted. Go back to that document, go back to those sources, and please do a cross check that have I unintentionally replicated the language or the idea. Okay, Mr. Vashish, note, citation in-text citations are not only required for quotes. Even if you are taking the context, you need to. Okay, so that highlighted portion will help you here before your submission. And trust me, if a paper coming back to you on account of plagiarism, it gives you more pain than writing the original paper. So do the homework well in advance, be prepared well in advance, and whatever is being done before submission, that will not troll much as you are correcting it, you are rectifying it once you have submitted for the publication. Okay, so do it, check your citations, check your spellings. If any citation is mixed, go back to the highlighted portion of a literature and check whether you are unintentionally even committing a plagiarism or not. Now, how to avoid it? Now, firstly, we understood how to correct it. Okay, how to avoid plagiarism? How can we say that we need to avoid the plagiarism? First is cite your source, your in-text citation and referencing and bibliography. Please make sure. I think it's now, by far now, everybody is very well aware about the fact that how much citation is important, right? Uh, no, we do it, Mr. Vashist. We do it. Okay. Then paraphrase and summarize. Okay, so see, paraphrasing I told you, and basically when you talk about summarizing here in literature, I think you all must be knowing it. In literature, you present your own idea as well. Okay, about the what other authors have said, but when you conclude the literature or in couple of instances, you summarize the main idea in your own words. Okay, so summarization in your own words reflects your perspective. That way also is there to avoid the plagiarism. Keep a track of your sources since beginning. That's very, very, very important, very important, because if you adapt some work and you take it in your new paper, but you lose the track from where you have taken, and you say that okay, fine, let me write it, it's important and I don't know the source of it, it will add in your plagiarism. So it's a request or a suggestion, as you want to may take it. Keep a track of your sources since the very beginning. Okay, since and uh, actually, it is to be developed as a habit. It is to be developed as a habit. Mr. Asif, see, uh, whatever what you have said, that should we do paraphrasing sentence wise or paragraph wise? I think your the first paraphrasing sentence wise comes to paragraph wise. If you are taking a considerable content, you have to do each sentence wise sentence, you have to move ahead. Okay, okay. Then do not just CCP. That's what I say, that do not just cut, copy, paste. It's very easy said then done, because cut copy can be done very easily, but thanks to technology, mm, we have lot many softwares which can be checked which can be easily used to check plagiarism. Definitely, Mr. David. Miss David, yes, it can be. It can be. So do not just copy paste. That's a simple, funda I follow. Do not just cut copy paste. Now, there are some couple of checklists which you need to follow, which you can follow while you are preparing for plagiarism prevention. So do not use exact word. Make sure you have right in-text citations. Every reference is properly listed at the end. And while using the citations, follow one particular style only. Do not just somewhere else, somewhere else, somewhere else. No, do not. Go for a proper plagiarism checker. Go for a proper software. Okay, so go for it. All right. Now, before moving to another slide, let me just take sometimes main terminologies like digital competence. Meanwhile, if I copy any table from SPSS, would agree, disagree, etc. What should I do? See, if you are, see, some terminologies, like you said, digital competence, or, this cannot be, anything. While you can say that digital competence can also be rephrased, but if any term which cannot be rephrased, you can take as it is. Okay. And when you are taking some table, so that source has to be mentioned, that adapted from, taken from. Okay, this or source, that has to be mentioned. If we show the works of other author, concept or language in inverted commas, acknowledging as in-text citation or in such a way we can reduce the plagiarism. Yes, sir. Actually, if you are working on the language part of that adapted work, and if you have properly cited it, definitely you can. Definitely. See, what is preferable? In-text citation must start with the author's name, or at the end of sentence must write the author name. See, basically, Mr. Imran, when you're talking about in-text citations, right? I'll be coming on to the citations as well, referencing style as well. There are a couple of citations which, whatever you are following, whatever style you are following, they follow different way of in-text citations. Okay, or let's say if there are two sentences taken from one author's work, so by the end of those two sentences, you will mention that author's note, not by the end of every sentence. Okay. See, if you are taking any figure from others paper, you will mention at the end of the figure or the diagram or table, whatever you're taking, at the end you will mention in the bracket source, and then you cite it. Okay, source, and then you cite it. All right. Okay. Now, one of the most important aspect which all of us are talking about, that language and citation language we spoken about, referencing citation, this is what we need to talk about. Okay. uh, Mr. Srinivas, please work on the setting of your YouTube HD quality. Even if they are not clear, they'll be reaching out to you, and when you will receive the PPTs, they'll be in the clear format. All right. Okay. So the basically first is APA style, which is very popular, American Psychological Association. Okay, with each, please pay attention. With every style of referencing, I have given how to write the referencing at the end, and in this particular column or this particular box, I have mentioned how to provide the in-text citation of that particular style. Okay, so end referencing is also explained in the box. In the blue box, the in-text citations, how to write the citation for that particular style, is also mentioned. Okay, so to go with the first one, there is a this is one is American Psychological Association, APA. So this is the way you do the referencing by the end. So what you do is the surname of the author, initial of the first name, initial of the middle name, and so and so. Okay. The in-text citation will be done by the author's last name, comma, and the year. Okay. And the in-text referencing will follow this pattern. Okay. So there is no confusion. There is no doubt how you need to do the APA style. When it comes to Vancouver style of citation or referencing, So here it is your detail. This is your referencing which you give at the last of your study, the surname and the initial, title, publication year, every information. Let's say, for example, certain information you do not have the pages. Skip it. It's okay, fine. If you do not have the page numbers with you, okay, don't write it. All right. So here what you do is in Vancouver style, you give a number to each reference at the bottom, at the last, at the end of the study. And that number will be written as in-text citation. So you need not to write like this. You can just mention the number. So for a reader, for a reviewer, it will be clear that number 4 is in-text citation. And at last, when I'll go and check the complete details about number 4 in-text citation, I can refer back to it. Okay, this is Vancouver style. Then Chicago style again. So here also, you give the author's last name and the year. And here it is last name, first name, year, and same like. Okay. Date of, when this article is published can also be, mentioned if it's available to you. All right. Then modern language association is another style wherein the in-text citation is this: last name, page number without punctuation. Okay, so basically here we are talking about the page number wherein you have, the particular context has been taken from. Okay, all right. There is a question from Amara. Should we make our own citation in Word, or we can copy from the Google Scholar because there is a given citation of all in different style? You need to cite the citation according to the citation style or referencing style you are following, not the style which the original author has followed. Okay? Not the style that the original author has followed. Okay? So, this is the way you need to go for it. So, this is the way you need to go for the in-text referencing, last referencing at the end of the study for the modern language association. All right. All right. So there are couple of points to be focused when it comes to referencing. No, Asif, you need not to mention the word source before in-text citation. It's only for the table or the figures. Okay, not for the text. Okay, so there are a couple of points which you need to follow. Some grammatical errors, some spelling errors needs to be focused, and Wikipedia is not a source from where you can take the context from. No, do not, because the information available on Wikipedia is, again, can be edited anytime. Seventh, this last seventh. Okay. These days it is used been 7. There are some couple of changes in that, but however this remains the same. So when you're talking about the websites, because these days it's not only about the journals or the articles, so these are you need to make sure that how to identify. So if you're using .com, if you're finding a URL or some document which has its URL ending as .com, that is the commercials website, edu, educational, gov, government, and so on. Okay, so this is just a quick tip for you to focus while plagiarism. Okay, now we will be talking about editing. Okay, because plagiarism is done, but your paper is not. Yes, you can, doctor. Yes, your paper is not publication ready. So editing is basically when your uh, piece of research is becoming published ready. That's what we say. So the way, we cook the dishes, but when we present it to our guests, what we do is we do little garnishing, proper plating, you know that we do. Similarly, editing does the same part. See, Mr. Subedi, that can be done, that can be tell only where you are intended to publish. Okay. Okay, now when we talk about in substantive or content edited, basically the editor, which they do, they, they talk about the structure, they examine the structure, the organization, and how the style is there in the manuscript. Okay, here and there, sections of the manuscript can be moved from one part of the another. So structural aspect is being focused. Okay, while when we talk about editing a manuscript, the copy editing stage basically focus on language, grammar, spelling, if there any, because I have seen many studies wherein similar kind of context is being getting repeated. Miss Sunita, yes, you need to mention the source, but if it's a very widely known formula, okay, then you can simply say that the formula given by so and so, if it's a widely known formula. Okay, so when you talk about editing, so copy editing stage basically spelling error, lot of repetition, avoiding the repetition, because when you are writing a research study, when you are writing the research paper, especially during the literature review time, you yourself is so occupied with so much of information that you don't realize that while writing you unintentionally repeat the things which are not of use of for a reader. So this manuscript editing take care of that part also, that repeated information should not be given to the reader. Okay, now what is proofreading? So proofreading basically, you know again, making your paper ready for publication, that there is no spelling mistakes, punctuation error, inconsistencies is not there, proper flow is there in not. Okay, and a reader should find it useful. Thank you, Mr. Ravi, thank you so much. So a reader should find it connective. So if I'm going through a paper, I should connect it from the introduction to the conclusion. That's what proofreading job is. Okay, so step one is basically content. So when there is a structural alignment has been taken care of, then you can go for line editing, wherein you are working on some changing some words, some impressive phrases you are adding. See, for example, when I write papers, I generally prefer to start it with some famous quotes. Okay, some famous authors or some famous researchers, they must have said. So I write it, I prefer to write it, and then the first 2 3 line of my introductions are always a general one related to the title of the theme. So in line editing, you work on these, you make it more presentable, you make it more lucrative for the readers. Then comes at copy editing. Here you are talking about again the grammar, the citations, the spelling checks, everything like that. Okay. Then comes your proofreading, wherein you are checking everything from top to bottom. Proper alignment is there, structure is there, page number is correctly cited or not. Because in index, research methodology is page number 12. When I'm coming to the actual page number 12, it is still on literature review. Okay, so this kinds of inconsistency should not be there. Okay, now why editing and proofreading is important? Because majority reviewer, they focus on that how the researcher is aware about the kind of work he or she is writing. It helps you to come out with your grammatical errors, your paper get a new perspective, and that surprisingly wow element gets added into your research work. Okay, now there are a couple of instructions which can be used by you for editing and proofreading. uh, just do not stick with your research for a longer period of time when you are doing editing and proofreading. Give yourself a break. Okay. And if you're comfortable with doing it on paper, the proofreading and editing, do that. Do not work if you're not comfortable with computer. Do not do the editing and proofreading, because editing and proofreading requires a lot of attention. Okay. And then you can try changing your document look also. Like you can highlight, for example, if you're editing and proofreading, you'll highlight your section of introduction with the, you know, that yellow part, and then you can go for this change in color for your conclusion. And this way you can change the perspective of the way your research looks like. Okay. And also is, one thing is very important. Just give this reading, proofreading and editing a proper attention. It is as important as writing the research. See, if you are writing the paper, which is very nicely done, but it is not presented properly, the purpose goes in vain. Okay. The purpose goes in vain. Basically, you are not making it publish ready. So unless and until it is widely published, what is the use of writing a research? Okay. Then there are some couple of proofreading tools which you can refer to. Okay. And you can check it for the proofreading. Okay. So this is from my side for this webinar, and now we can take on some questions. Yes, PC, basically when you talk about et al, basically it means that you are when you have citations from three or more authors. So this is an abbreviated one. Okay. There are Mr. Pasha, Dr. Pasha, there are a couple of softwares which I've mentioned, and there may be some other available also. You may refer to them as well. Okay. Mr. Nasir, can I paraphrase and combine three or more citations that are used in a single paper, and I cite only the authors of that single paper only? See, what happen is, if that original author have taken, if the original author have taken somebody else's work and he has cited it, and you are citing that work, you need to cite both the authors. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. You need to cite both the authors. Okay. How can we write materials and methods so that it can take less plagiarism? Again, I've the entire webinar is on that only, Mr. Atul. Yeah. For rephrasing, you need to use your own tool, that is brain. For proofreading, I have mentioned. How to do self citation. Self citation is, again, see, self plagiarism can be avoid only when you treat your own published work, already published work, as somebody else's work. Treat it, don't think that it's my work. Citation, paraphrasing, everything needs to be done. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Anirudh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Karthik. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Nagaraju. Thank you so much. I hope, with this, we can, because basically this kind of webinars uh, allow the community or the networking of the researcher to, to get along with each other. What is the theoretical implication of the study? What content shall be written in this part? See, theoretical implication of the study, it talks about that how the particular study is contributing, or how it is being useful and significant for the literature. Mr. Asif, yes, yes, I have already said yes, provided you mention the source. Okay, provided you mention the source. All right. Yes. So thank you, Mr. Pali. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope the the information is useful for all of you, and all those. See, rephrasing, basically, there are some website, and when it comes to rephrasing, I think Research Graduate is there to help you and all that. If anybody is finding it difficult for avoiding plagiarism and you're not able to do it, and we take care of these issues, we take care of these concerns, because Thank you so much, Nasla. Thank you. Because I understand, it has been very well understood that when it comes to research and when it comes to writing, these are two different aspects. Okay. So both of the aspects are not possible for everyone. Okay. So for that, you can get in touch with research graduate, definitely. Ah, yes, sometimes there is a plagiarism in the adaptive tool where I've already taken permission. What should I do? So that's what we have said that, in order to avoid the plagiarism in your own tool, you need to work upon the way which we have discussed. Okay. Ma'am, abstract versus introduction. Abstract is overall briefing of a topic. Introduction means fundamental basic idea of a topic. Yes, so yes, I mean, if you're saying that, yes, abstract basically briefs you about your entire study. Yes. Mr. Subedi, I mean, this I might be having a very limited research. Again, I will say that the kind of journals you are publishing in, I think, what preferred citation they want, you need to follow that. Thank you. If research graduate is helping us in a writing paper, isn't it a plagiarism? See, if research graduate is helping you in writing a paper, it is not a plagiarism, because that means if you're asking this question, the entire webinar goes in vain. Plagiarism means that when you are using somebody else's you're using somebody else's idea and you're not citing it, the language remains the same. So what I say that sometimes what happens is a researcher is a very good researcher, is an avid researcher, but due to the complexities or due to the difficulties from the linguistic part, you're not able to convey the same level of research understanding on paper. Okay, you sometimes you get short of words, sometimes you get short of ways the which you can present your ideas. There the firms like, or there the people like research graduate comes and play their part. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. And if it is of your use, and I'm glad that all of you get uh, helped by it. Thank you so much. Okay. A very interesting question, Mr. Muhammad. If I listen someone words on YouTube or elsewhere and I quote their words on my work, see, Mr. Muhammad, basically, when you are quoting somebody's work, okay, when you are quoting somebody's work in your written piece of research, I would advise you to go for something which is which is a documented piece of information. Let's say, for example, you are listening to a Bloomberg interview which is posted on YouTube. Some Adidas CEO is talking about some product development strategies, or Warren Buffett talking about financials. That you can say, but quoting YouTube as a source, I would not advise. Thank you so much, Marimatu. Thank you so much, Sai. Thank you so much. It means, Mr. Ahmed, how many people have referred or how many people have cited your work? Thank you so much. Thank you. You will be getting, see, you'll be getting the certificate, you'll be getting the video of it, you'll be getting the PPTs also. Don't worry. Yes, see, Mr. Nasser, actually, every journal, every university, as I stated, that there is a accepted level of plagiarism for every journal, for every university. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. See, if you ask me, so then plagiarism should be 0%. And I'm not saying that 0% plagiarism is not possible. It is possible. It is. I've done it, so that's why I can say that it is possible. However, every university, every journal has their own level of acceptance of plagiarism. So it's about where you are getting your work to be considered for publication. Depends upon that. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Asif. Thank you, everybody. And I'm glad that I have been able to contribute to your level of understanding. And I also learn a lot through these interactions. Uh, I think YouTube is providing wonderful opportunities in such a way. And if any one of you is finding any difficulties, you may approach research graduate, definitely. If unknowingly some words get plagiarism, what is, again, Mr. Vipul, see, the thing is that it depends upon the place where you are considering your paper to get published. Ma'am, certificate which you provide, what benefit for us? Okay, I mean, I think these kind of workshops or these webinars or these trainings which you say, if you are a working professional in education, these they get counted in your CV, and it strengthens your CV overall. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, there is somebody who's saying that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gray. Can you please make a session about how review article for publication press systematic? Definitely, and I think Miss Thalia, you have missed out couple of webinars in the past, but I will definitely go for it, and we will repeat those series of sessions. Definitely, we have already conducted it, but we'll repeat them. Yes, Mr. Ahmed. Yes, it is. Okay, if you have seen a lot of researchers, they mentioned that how high their citation score is going on LinkedIn, if you have noticed. Yes, for sure. It's been wonderful to getting in touch with all of you. And if in case you guys have any queries, so you can get in touch with us. Oh, Mr. Subedi, I can't comment about all of them. I can't comment about all of them. See, Mr. Mehta, specifically, uh, when you talk about for a thesis, your entire thesis go for a plagiarism check. Generally, the high level of plagiarism come in your literature section. But when you are going for a PhD thesis submission, your entire thesis go for a plagiarism check. For sure, Mr. Muhammad. For sure, we'll get back to that. For sure, for sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much. Yes. So, because see, when you submit your PhD thesis before, once you are done, before making it available for the general readers, it goes for a plagiarism check. And before you make a final submission, yes, the authorities from wherever you submit, like for example, in my time, I submitted to my head librarian. They check the plagiarism and then they revert back to your supervisor. It depends upon university to university. So for my thesis, it was 0%. So I need not to work on that aspect of it. Mrs. Subedi, I really told you that I can't comment on the authenticity of these. Okay. Yes, Elzen, we cite these secondary sources. Yes, we do it. I couldn't understand your question, sir. Have you got any publishing organization, madam? I did not get at your. Yeah, we're talking about organization who can help us with publication. So I do not have any, but I am serving as a reviewer for a couple of journals. Yeah, you can reach me out to the email which is there on for the research graduate, and you can I can get in touch through that email provided. The plagiarism in references count, how can we remove it? See, if your references is there, generally what happen is in your plagiarism when it comes to references, that the references from wherever you have taken it is following different style of recitation and you are following different. Alison, I have already answered this question, yes. And make sure that whatever references you are mentioning, the index citation also corresponds to that. Okay. So your index citation should get aligned with it. So yes, yes, Alison, we do cite it. Yes, we do it because primary data is the one which you collect. Secondary data is the one which is in published form. Okay. So if we have any, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nicholas. Thank you so much, Mr. Padam. Thank you so much. If we have any other questions, please feel free. I think when it comes to proofreading, when it comes to editing, and basically, what I say that making your study as published ready. So it's very important for a researcher because the work it is once it is reader ready, then only it is reaching to them. Okay, then only it is reaching to them that it is making sense to the reader, it is relatable, it is acceptable, it is plagiarism free. That's one. Okay. H index I mean remart, it is basically your citation impact of your study. No, Mr. Srinivas, we don't publish the articles, we don't do that. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Vashish, Turnitin is relatively strict. So basically, if you are aiming for a very less plagiarism level, you need to go for such kind of strict softwares. What if I can remember the source of an idea? I need to mention. I can't. I did not get you. If you can't remember the source of an idea, I mean, you need to cite it. That's what I said. That's why I said that. Make a list of your source, arrange your literature, arrange your sources. Yes, Mr. Padam, you can get a service for proofreading also. Oh, Dr. Nagaraju, I mean, this is a question I think for every educator these days, how to improve the citation by writing the quality paper. Data analysis software courses, yes, I mean, depends upon, the requirement. Yes, it may can. In like the previous webinars were focusing on the data analysis, the aspect of it. Yes. No problem, Thalia. No problem. No problem. It's absolutely fine. I hope we the all of the people who are here are majority from the education side. For sure, step by step. I think we have done it, Mr. Parmar. We have done this, how to write a research paper, starting from the title and it and go on. Okay, and basically in fact, the very last paper was how to make your paper ready for Scopus. Sorry, the journal submission ready. Basically, just in the case when you are writing for a particular journal, okay, then only you follow the guidelines for the journal. Otherwise you write a paper and then you go to the journal of the journal guidelines and then you arrange your paper accordingly. Okay, generally this happens that when we write the paper and then we make it journal ready. If you are aiming for a particular journal, the guidelines, I think at the last webinar was on that also. Sure, Mr. Faisal, we will be working on proofreading techniques and editing for sure, for sure. Yes, sir, for sure, Mr. Subedi. You will be getting notified related to your. Generally, in every 14 days, we conduct a webinar. So you will be definitely notified with the updated schedule of the next webinar. For sure, for sure. And we are glad that you are liking you are also a very interactive audience. Ah, reliable paper. I think I have covered this in when I did the webinar on literature, that how to go for the authenticated sources for your literature for your PhD thesis. Okay, then I'll suggest you that Miss Khadija, that you go to Google and you type that text if you have. So as it is, type it on the Google and it will take you to the paper. Whatever text you have, the idea which you're talking about, type it. Okay, and it will take you to the, for sure, from Mr. Parmar, we'll look into it for sure, for sure. Uh, mm, Mr. Das, they have in some paper I see in-text citation where two or more authors are mentioned. Yes, yes. See, basically, generally, what happen is, you if you want to take et al form, you may go for this is an abbreviated form, and this you can go for mentioning all the author's name for in-text citation as well. Sure, 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 Dr. Nagaraju. Sure, sure. We'll talk about it. We'll definitely conduct it. Sure. Yes, for Mr. Khadija, again, I'm telling you, you can go and type that idea into Google. It will take you to the paper. See, it depends upon, Mr. Vashisht, basically it depends upon that to what aspect the software is digging into the plagiarism. It is only talking about the structural alignment, or it is talking about grammatical errors, or it is talking about punctuation, it is talking about similarity in the language. That's why. That's why. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. So I hope the webinar, you know, it is you found it useful, and I'm able to contribute to your existing level of knowledge and understanding. Definitely, we'll take it. What about data analysis for thesis? Yes, this also been taken care of. See, for all these queries, you can get back to the contact details, Mr. Pada, what I have provided you in the starting of the webinar. All right. Okay. So all these information will be taken care of. Okay. So with this note, I'll take a leave from you all, and I hope and we will all meet in the next series of webinars, and with a new idea, with a new discussion, and with a new set of knowledge. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.